There's a lot of big Tesla stock news that we need to talk about, and there are a few good news stories that were just confirmed. Here's one. Canada has just completed its investigation into Tesla's iZEV rebate claims and found they were all valid and there was no fraud. So there was money frozen that will now be released. Many Tesla bears and short sellers claim that there was some fraud, but nope, no fraud was found. And now some Tesla bulls are saying that this whole investigation was a politically motivated sham. I too, of course, can't wait for the Tesla Q and the bears to apologize for spreading misinformation, but we all know that's not going to happen. In the meantime, Tesla has reduced Model Y prices in Canada by $20,000, bringing it back to pre-tariff levels. And then Tesla just created a new official TSLA India account on which it posted that it's coming soon, July 2025, signaling that Tesla will launch this month in India. Oh, and now we got another update that actually they are launching on July 15th. The company will hold a special event at their first showroom in Mumbai. So this was just now announced. Also, there's a question being thrown around: is Elon Musk back in full control of Tesla? Bloomberg's Matthew Bloxham says Elon Musk is refocused on Tesla. Well, obviously Elon right now is currently focused a little bit on politics, and there was a whole Grok announcement as well, which we'll talk about later. But Elon Musk is certainly focused enough on Tesla for Tesla to keep making progress and expand the Robotaxi network. It was just announced also that Tesla will be expanding their Robotaxi service, and actually it will be done this weekend. So if you are in Austin, the geofenced area is now going to be bigger. The impressive thing about this is not that Tesla is expanding its Robotaxi network. What's really impressive about this is how fast it's expanding its network already. Robotaxi services just launched and now it's getting bigger. And Elon also said that they are going to launch in the Bay Area in a month or two, and that they're just waiting on regulatory approvals. And this is rather interesting. On Polymarket, people only think that there is a 19% chance or so that Tesla is actually going to launch a Robotaxi service in California this year. I definitely think Tesla is launching this year. Just how big is it going to be? And if Tesla really expands its Robotaxi services in Austin this week, yeah, this year in California, I think we will definitely have Tesla Robotaxis. Also, I would certainly expect Elon to actually start promoting full self-driving a lot more for vehicles that people own themselves, because he replied to this post with highlights how important it is for Tesla to show owners how to use FSD. Jacob here rented a Tesla on Turo for 12 hours to shoot a video. He needed FSD for the video, so he told the owner to subscribe for 1 month and he would pay for it. Then he says, I just returned the car and I said thanks and was walking away, but then I ran back and asked if she had ever used FSD. She said no. So I told her to press down on the stock to engage it, and that she has to try it. So an owner of a 2024 Tesla Model Y Performance hasn't even tried FSD. And typically what I see is if they have hardware 4, they are going to start using FSD and they will not stop. And just now I was driving someone, and that person actually, for the first time ever, this never happened before, insisted that I use FSD. That person thought I wasn't using FSD, even though I actually was. But that has never happened to me before. That person recently got a Tesla and discovered how amazing FSD is and how overall driving with it is safer. So as a passenger, that person insisted that I have to use FSD. And then Elon Musk replied to this post himself, indicating that they are actually going to do it. And Farzad is saying here, they are going to do it, aren't they? And Elon replied with this to the post. And now you will see the actual post. I don't know. I have no comments about this. They literally could expand their Robotaxi service like that. And knowing Elon and seeing his reply, I think the chances at this point are certainly realistic, as in they may actually do it. Anyway, Tesla bulls are really excited about this expansion. And this is actually really important, so pay close attention to this. This expansion actually gives us a second data point for us Tesla stock investors. One more after that, and then we have the beginnings of a curve, a few more beyond, and we got a good curve. So the thing to watch extremely closely right now is the expansion speed and where it will expand and how fast. With Elon having committed to go into politics a lot more, We might have some more buying opportunities, and if we do have them, I will be buying more shares, just like Omar says, sell me your shares. The American Party will ruin everything, right? And by the way, according to the DMV, Tesla is now confirmed to be licensed to test on all public roads in California. Although keep in mind, this is testing with a driver. Now, I'm not sure if actually just having a person sitting there in the front seat, but not in front of the steering wheel, would California count that as a driver or not? I assume it doesn't count. Now, it turns out that Tesla actually has had this permit for over a year now. This is the website from June 2024, and you can see that Tesla is right there at the bottom. Some people are questioning, do you anticipate Newsom and his buddies will meddle with California state approvals? I think Omar is right here. No, I expect California regulators will give approval just like they did with Cruise and many other inferior self-driving cars. Now, Elon, of course, is usually a bit optimistic with his timeline. So he's saying 1 or 2 months here. So let's say 2.5, maybe 3 max. But actually knowing that it's 17 days from launch to the first expansion, we might see actually another expansion maybe in the metro Austin area before Tesla launches in California. And the longer Tesla operates here in Austin, and as long as there are no accidents where someone gets hurt, certainly Tesla has freedom to expand. If they don't, it's more that they don't want to. Look at this article. Elon Musk wants to bring Tesla's Robotaxi to San Francisco. Good luck. The company has only 1 of 3 DMV permits required for robotaxis, and they may struggle to answer some questions about safety. So expanding in California currently, it is a regulatory hurdle, but I think Tesla will clear all of these hurdles soon. But in Austin, unless Tesla expands to the whole metro Austin area, Tesla certainly has freedom to expand more. I talked about that news a little while ago. And unlike for Waymo and other services like Waymo, Tesla's expansion should be like a snowball. It's going to start a bit slow at first, but the more data and the more safety concerns addressed, the expansion should later accelerate because it is not going to be limited by HD maps and LiDAR sensors, and certainly it is not going to be limited by a lack of vehicles that can be used as robotaxis, because literally Tesla is using Model Ys. Now, CERN has an interesting point here. If Tesla doubles the robotaxi service area, does it also need to double the fleet size? Actually, it's more likely to more than double. And it actually really makes sense. A larger geofenced area likely means longer average trip times, as riders can travel farther within the expanded boundaries. Longer trips tie up vehicles for more time, reducing the number of trips each vehicle can complete per hour. Also, if the new area has higher demand, more vehicles would be needed beyond doubling. And then, if the new area includes more congested areas, vehicles may spend more time navigating or waiting, reducing efficiency. Thus, more vehicles would be needed beyond doubling. Number 4, vehicles need to travel empty to pick up passengers, which is called deadheading. A larger area potentially increases deadheading distances, reducing vehicle availability for active trips, again, pushing the fleet size beyond a simple doubling. And then lastly, number 5, in a larger area, vehicles may cluster in high demand zones, for example, downtown, while leaving peripheral areas underserved, requiring empty repositioning trips to balance supply. This inefficiency is similar to deadheading, but driven by uneven demand distribution, further reduces vehicle availability. For example, if 20% of a vehicle time is spent repositioning in a doubled area, up from 10% in the current area, the fleet size must increase to offset this loss. Based on some rough calculations, a 2x increase in the service area might necessitate something like a 3x increase in fleet size. And Tesla here has a few strategies. One, Tesla can expand in areas where Waymo already is, and every time Tesla does that, Waymo's business is going to start going down, especially if Tesla's rides are priced significantly below Waymo's, which right now they are generally. So that would kill Waymo much quicker. Another option is to expand into areas where Tesla just has a lot of data, but where Waymo doesn't really exist. And in those cities, Tesla could charge a premium price. I don't think Tesla is going to take the latter option, I think Tesla is going to go into areas where Waymo already is, because usually these areas are the biggest anyway. And Tesla does tend to have the most data in these areas. Also, these areas are already relatively friendly to autonomous vehicles. So regulation is not really that much of a deal in these areas. Either way, it's looking pretty bad for Waymo. Now, Omar says, I can't wait to see FSD Supervised finally launch in Australia and New Zealand. Apparently, Tesla was planning on releasing FSD Supervised in Australia in May 2025, actually. And we know about this because someone requested information via an FOI request, and Tesla, was actually going to release V13 software. So based on this, indeed, Tesla is going to launch FSD soon in Australia. And we have seen those tests from Tesla where Tesla is actually already testing FSD Supervised in Australia. So it's just a matter of time. It's coming soon. Yashu might actually have a point here. Why is no one connecting the dots, he's saying? So he points at this from Tesla. This is from a little while ago. Plans for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track to start production in the first half of 2025. Now, also remember that they didn't say launch or become available for purchase. They mentioned production, meaning they could already be producing those. And then Yashu is pointing to this post. Tesla will officially open its first showroom in India this upcoming Tuesday, July 15th. So based on what Yashu is saying, this is going to be part of Tesla having more affordable models. It definitely would make sense to have significantly cheaper models in India, even if they are basically the same Model 3s and Model Ys, but just really seriously stripped down. And the first deliveries in India should start in August, actually. And if you have seen people driving in India, you know that the ultimate final FSD boss for Tesla is India, but this one's going to take a little while more. And before it was even officially announced that Tesla is expanding into India, Green, the hacker who we have all seen many times, he said that Tesla added Indian maps to its software. Typically, that's done shortly before expanding into a new market. So this time we know definitely for sure Tesla is extremely serious about the expansion. And Omar has been testing FSD quite a bit in New York City, and he says FSD seems to work very well in New York City, but local regulations on rideshare prevent driverless cars from anybody. So Waymo has to have human drivers for testing right now. So Waymo is going to have to deal with regulations, and then Tesla later just going to swoop in without having to deal with all of that pesky regulatory stuff. So in a way, really, Waymo is doing some charity work here. As a Tesla stock investor, I'm really happy with all of the work that Waymo has to do here, because Tesla is going to take advantage of it and then put Waymo out of business. So Waymo, we thank you for your sacrifice. Oh, and we have a prediction from Alex here. Given the expansion of Tesla's Robotaxi business, Tesla shares are significantly undervalued and could easily double in the next 6 months. Nothing is stopping Tesla from entering 10-20 cities and deploying thousands of Robotaxis in 2025. We are also seeing more people getting invited for Robotaxi rides. So if you applied, check, and you might already been accepted. Yeah, there are actually quite a few more people that have been approved. So do you remember this ride that Tesla took in Madrid in Spain? Tesla posted this ride on July 3rd. It's turning out now that Spain did not really actually approve this. Madrid's delegate says this vehicle did not have the appropriate authorization, which must be issued by the Directorate General for Traffic with a positive report from the city of Madrid. And this is big news for us Tesla shareholders, because the Tesla shareholder meeting has now been scheduled specifically for November 6th. This is a bit later than normal, but we now have a date. And we also found out that Grok is now coming to Tesla vehicles by next week. And then we need to talk about this response from Elon Musk. Elon is saying to Dan Ives here, shut up, Dan. Elon Musk is clearly signaling here that he is not going to agree to demands number 2 and number 3, which would require him to spend a specific amount of time at Tesla at a bare minimum, and having oversight on his political endeavors is an absolute no-no. About the point number 2, if you do remember Musk's latest compensation package, actually, if you read the lawsuit papers and all of that, Elon was under oath when he said that basically he would not have accepted that compensation package if it meant that he would have had to spend a specific amount of time at Tesla. My opinion is still the same. when I saw this post initially. So overall, I do think that it's unrealistic to get number 2 and number 3 done, although if somehow possible, I think that would be great for Tesla stock investors overall. But I don't think they can be done. And Elon's reply here to Dan Ives, I personally really don't like it. He could have just simply said, absolutely not to number 2 and number 3. Now, I've seen Tesla bears talk about Dan Ives as if he has always been the biggest Tesla stock bull. While Dan Ives is generally a Tesla stock bull, yes, he hasn't always been bullish. For example, if you look at this time period here, he just said hold. But right before that, he did say buy. So if you bought and then you held and you didn't sell, you made a lot of money. Dan Ives never had a sell rating as far as I can see here on tip ranks on Tesla stock. But to say shut up, Dan, I personally really don't like that. He could have just said absolutely not. Very polite, but extremely firm. However, if you have read Walter Isaacson's biography of Elon Musk, this does not come as a surprise to you at all. This is just Elon's so-called demon mode is how Walter Isaacson documented it as. And it's coming out here a little bit. And because Dan Ives is pretty firm by insisting on these guardrails here for time spent at Tesla and political activity, Elon Musk is viewing Dan as an enemy in this case. Then Tom Narayan here from RBC Capital adjusted his price target to 319 from 307, so he increases it a little bit. And this is based basically on Tesla's auto business, which doesn't seem to have anything with FSD. And then Tesla was forced to refund a $10,000 FSD payment. An arbitration court found that Tesla misled customers with its FSD product and has now been forced to refund at least one person's $10,000 payment plus legal fees for the not quite autonomous driving software. The legal fees were basically $8,000, so $18,000 in total. And this whole thing is in France, and you can't even use FSD in France. So to me, this is not really a big deal. There's some backlash against this post. Tesla's direct-to-consumer model is leaving many drivers in frustration. Don Hall, who is a CEO of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association, breaks down why the franchise system still protects the customer. If he's talking about protecting the customer from getting a good, fair deal as well as a good experience, he would be right. But he says the truth of the matter is we live in your communities. We are part of your communities. We've been around for generations and we give a damn about our communities. In fact, they value our community so much that every time I go and deal with a dealer, I think that I'm ripped off. So I guess they value trying to make everyone in the community feel who comes over that they're ripped off or that they're trying to take advantage of them. That's how much they value their community. The fact of matter is that Tesla's model is not a model that gives you the kind of buying experience that you're entitled to and should have. I guess they're not wrong because they do think that by default you should have the worst experience possible when buying a car. And if Tesla is just smooth, there's no issues usually. No one's trying to rip you off about how much you are going to pay for the car. If by any chance you do have some sort of an issue, it's going to be something that has nothing to do with the price because everyone is getting the same price on the day of the purchase. And then he finishes with, the franchise system, you got a choice. And you got a lot of folks who will compete and will do whatever it takes to earn your business and trust. Well, I certainly believe him when he says, we will do whatever it takes to earn. And I would just cross this out. Dealership people, at least from my experience, are some of the shadiest people I've dealt with. And I definitely agree with this here. I bought from dealerships enough times to know I never want to do it again. Big ones, small ones, cheap cars and expensive ones. The best experience I ever had was only almost as good as the normal experience buying from Tesla. And this makes sense. Yeah, I definitely loved spending days and hours at different dealers fighting to not get it ripped off. Then offered 20 different warranties in an effort to rip me off even more. And now Grok 4, it is big news. Grok 4 is now the top performing publicly available model on ARC AGI. This is actually already hard for current AI models. The previous top score was 8%. Getting 15.9% breaks through that noise barrier. Grok 4 is showing non-zero levels of fluid intelligence. So XAI was founded in March of 2023. Just 28 months later, it now has the #1 AI model in the world verified by independent testing. And this is extremely relevant to Tesla because Waymo supposedly is ahead of Tesla. It is in more cities, it has more self-driving cars. But look at what XAI did despite OpenAI's head start. Elon co-founded OpenAI too, but was able to recreate the tech and beat it. And this is the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, and you can see that Grok 4 is #1 here, and Grok 3 Mini was right here. So this is a substantial improvement. And this is of course great for Elon Musk, because when other companies of Elon do well, that's good for his whole brand overall. More people, the smartest people, want to work for Elon, and that of course benefits all of his companies. And when you are, let's say, at Tesla and you see XAI doing these impossible things, you know that the problem that Tesla is working on, FSD, which is supposed to be impossible to solve, you know, it's actually possible. And you see that it's more likely to happen after you see such big breakthroughs. Because Elon is not just some random guy that just has big dreams and no track record. Now his track record is just constantly improving because he's beating the best of the best in the most competitive industries, and is still improving fast. So Grok 4 now is smarter than all graduate students in all disciplines simultaneously. Grok 4 has 10x the reasoning as early Grok 3. Some people now calling Grok 4 basically AGI. And here's the big bombshell. Pay attention to this. This does change quite a bit. We expect Grok 4 to discover new technologies by next year. New tech, not discovered by a human being, discovered by artificial intelligence, specifically Grok 4. It's such a big thing that in fact Elon said we are in the intelligence big bang right now. So I would highly suggest for everyone to try Grok 4 if you can. It's not cheap though, it's like $300 a month. But with respect to academic questions, Grok 4 is better than PhD levels in every subject, no exception, says Elon. Grok 4 is at the point where it essentially never gets math and physics exam questions wrong unless they are skillfully adversarial. It can identify errors or ambiguities in questions, then fix the error in the question or answer each variant of an ambiguous question. What if Grok 4 is AGI and we just don't realize it yet? Elon replied, Grok is already far smarter than humans in most respects. It can't yet create new technologies or discover new physics, which very few humans can do, and sometimes misses on common sense. When Grok goes far wrong, that is usually due to something foolish we did, like a bad system prompt or placing too much weight on biased sources. Also, we need to complete improved image training, as even Grok 4 is still partially blind. That will be solved in a month or so. And XAI is reportedly preparing to raise more money in a deal that could value the company as high as $200 billion, 10 times its value early last year. If you remember, I have been hugely in favor of Tesla at least buying or investing partially in XAI, and well, that's why. On top of Tesla also possibly getting even more talented people. There's also some good news about the Tesla Semi. This logistics company, ArcBest, just completed a 4,500-mile Tesla Semi pilot program, and on average, over a 3-week period, they did 321 miles per day with an average overall efficiency of just 1.55 kilowatt hours per mile, which is incredible. So very positive feedback here. So basically the Tesla Semi is beating its own efficiency targets. And then Linda Yaccarino stepped down from being the CEO of X, and Elon Musk thanked her for her service. So the departure seems rather peaceful. She was really brought in mostly to get these advertising budgets from all of these companies up and get them spending the money, and now that's done. So now Elon probably needs someone else who is going to do a better job with technology, not just with managing advertising spending. I think Linda did a good job, and now X needs someone else. And check this out. BYD announced that it is going to take responsibility for losses and damage to cars with its God's Eye assisted driving systems in smart parking scenarios in China. But this will only be under certain conditions. And NVIDIA just became the first company to hit a $4 trillion market cap. So congratulations there. Which company do you think is the most likely to get to a $10 trillion market cap first? I'm thinking it's Tesla. Tesla stock today is up a little bit. If you do like seeing that, make sure to click the like button right now. My name is Matt Postis, and I believe that Tesla stock is going to $1,000 per share. And then after that, well above it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you haven't yet. And I will see you back probably on Monday.